Good morning, people. It is another Tuesday. I skipped last Tuesday's interview by choice, reluctantly. I really wrestled with it, but there was so much going on last week. I was like, I think I'll sit this one out. There's so much noise in the world. So I just took that as a sign to do other things. But we are back this week, and we are back with my friend Barb, who I've known for at least 2 years
Already.
and met locally in Saratoga through the Savvy group, which many of you tuning in, I'm sure, are aware of. Gosh, I miss those monthly get-togethers
I
so
do too.
much now.
Yeah.
It used to be hard for me to get out and go there because it's at night, and I live in Schuylerville, and it's like 9 miles in the dark, and I'm like, I really need somebody to push me out the door. But now, man, I'd be there in a heartbeat, midnight. Sure, I'm there. When we can do that again, gosh, I can't wait. Um, so anyway, Barb, why don't you introduce yourself to the good peoples?
Well, Don, thank you. I was so thrilled when you reached out to me and asked me if I would be willing to do this. And it's great to see you, I guess. We have to be happy that we can at least still stay connected, although I miss the in-person very, very much. I still pick up the phone and call people. I just have to hear human voice at least. So thank you. Yeah. So you asked me to share a little bit about my story. And I really honestly have to say, everyone has a story. I almost feel that what I went through as a human being and what we went through as a family might even be more relevant today than when we went through it, right? So,
Absolutely.
as far as me, I actually have a gambit of experiences across the board, I like to say. So, my foundational career was in corporate America. I worked for a major pharmaceutical company in a variety of positions. I moved 5 times in 7 years, every time with a promotion. And then when I met my husband 2 years later, we had our first daughter, and I couldn't do it anymore. I just couldn't. When they said you have to get on a plane on Sunday and fly to San Diego and be gone all week, I traveled a little bit in the beginning when our girls were young, but I made a choice and I took a very big career and decided, you know what? This just isn't working for me. And ultimately, I'm always forever grateful for that foundation. But I left on my own volition and decided to work with a PharmD out of Boston. And we were doing some consulting work. We eventually ended up back in corporate America with a big employee benefits firm, part of the national life sciences practice with that firm. And I was traveling, but I wasn't traveling at that point nationally. I was more on the train going between where we live in New York City or out to Boston or Providence. So
Excuse me. I would just like to recapture that you made a choice,
I
right?
did.
I feel
Yeah.
like as women, there are so many choices that we're in a position to make. Um, that are really tough, really hard based on family and such. And I feel like, and there are multiple articles that I've read that have come out of the few months about what this pandemic is doing. And the majority of people that are out of work are women making choices because the kids are homeschooling now,
Oh,
etc.
yeah.
Um, like, I feel like it's always our choice.
Yeah.
How did, was it a big wrestle for you at the time?
Well, I mean, I was a career woman. When I made this decision, I got married at age 32. So, it's funny, excuse me, my kids don't even know me as that person. And one night, I think I was going to a Savvy meeting and I was dressed, and they look at me like I have three heads, like, what are you doing? Because they never knew me as that career person. So it is kind of funny, but I'll tell you what the turning point was for me. And it's kind of a funny story, but I had been gone all week and I was on the train and we had my daughter, and my husband picked me up at the train station. And you're gone all week, you're excited to be home, you're exhausted from the travel and the meetings all week. And our daughter was young. She was in the back seat with the car seat facing the back of the seat. I mean, she was very young. And I was so excited to see them. And I turned around and this is terrible, but I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm an honest person. This is so funny, but it was my breaking point. My husband was helping because he was working from home, and he did a great job, but we had someone also, he would take her to a caregiver during the day, take care of her at night. So when I went to see her in the back of the seat, she had on a onesie pajama, and it had, like, I'm not going to lie to you, it had like food on it. And I'm like, what happened? So I called the caregiver the next day, and she said, oh, he just sent her all week. And I said, that's it. I'm done. I'm done. And I left. I left. And it was nothing against my husband. He was in a very big job. You know, he's a computer engineer. He was doing the best he could. But it just, I knew that I could not in good conscience do this anymore. And that was my breaking point. You know, I didn't laugh at the time. I remember bursting into tears and I just said,
Right.
I can't do this.
Right.
So I did make the choice and, you know, took a big hit in my salary and it was not easy. And went from that to the consulting work, went into another corporate job with that National Life Sciences practice. And then we all got laid off. They decided they were going to close the practice. This was September. We were able to work until December to close out the business, which was a blessing. Several of us went from there and we started our own little boutique consulting firm. And we did that for a while. And we were very lucky because, you know, those of us that were on the marketing side, we went from, you know, I went from working in the pharma company to working for companies now with pharma and biotech companies. And one day we were supposed to have a meeting. We were this close to closing our first project with one of the big biotech firms. And 10 minutes before, I'm not exaggerating, we get a call from our employer and they laid those of us that were on the marketing side off. They did. And I had to then, with my business partner that also got laid off, go on the phone and say, look, and talk about grace. This person that we obviously had a relationship with said, look, I don't care what you're called. I don't care what your name is. I'm sticking with you guys. He sent me a check for literally hundreds of thousands of dollars and we started our
Oh,
own little business.
that's awesome.
So it was such a blessing. And we did that for a while. We worked with like medium to large employers on the employee benefit. We did a lot of educational programs working with HR benefits people. And that was really fascinating. But again, that little regional travel. And then my business partner was 20 years older, the pharmaceutical industry, the patents, there was an expiration. It was like called the patent cliff. A lot of the drugs were going off patent. So he didn't want to travel even regionally anymore. And at the time, 2 years before that, my husband had started a business. And that business had grown very quickly. It was a small manufacturing business that serviced the military and law enforcement. My husband is former military and he is an inventor and he has patents and so forth. So he said to me, can you come help me? So for a while, I was helping him with our family business and working my boutique consulting business with two little kids. It was insanity. It really was.
And you thought going and traveling for a week at a time was hard.
Yeah, it was insanity. The kids remember even as little. I mean, we had these things all over our kitchen. They remember the stories, even when they were little, that's all they knew. So we did that for 13 years. And that's how I came to what I'm doing now, because I want to encourage people. We, as a small business, had good years, bad years, but we were making it until one day when our lender sent new people into our office and said, we're not here to shut you down. We worked on an agreement to keep going forward. I made some decisions based on a full production floor and a pipeline. And unfortunately, they weren't sincere. And one day I went to my business bank account and there was no money. They took all of our money. And that was my dark moment.
God, I
I
can't
literally,
even imagine.
it was just, I can't even tell you what a place I was in, because think about it. At this point, our girls are getting ready to go to college. My husband is my business partner and I'm curled up in bed, and the emotions, you know, I had no patience for my girls. I had no ability. I was very resentful and angry toward my husband, who was my business partner, because I felt he ruined our lives, truthfully. And I fell apart over it. And I was curled up in bed and my emotions were all over the place. And it was my perfect storm. And now when I hear people going through the things they're going through, Dawn, I just, you know, I can empathize wholeheartedly because we've walked that walk. And I just think it's even harder right now, you know. It's just, I see it and I just think, keep going. That's all you have to do. And you may have to pivot, you may have to reinvent yourself, but don't stop.
Right. I just heard from one of my friends, one of my best, most dear friends, the end of last week, and she was just letting me know that they had let her husband go from the company he had worked for the last 35 years. And he had worked in the same industry forever,
Mhm.
right? 35 years. They just dissolved half of his part of the company.
Mm.
Um, and they're about 50-ish, right? And it's just Oh, we're
Yeah.
done with you. And I
Yep.
was like, oh my gosh, I am so angry for you guys. Like,
Right.
how do you do that to people? Who's okay making those decisions? And this is not a company, by the way, it's not a small company. This is a big, multinational
Mhm.
company.
Yeah.
And
And that's what happens. I mean, I remember when we had our business, we had someone come in who had helped open, um, I think, Hong Kong or China for GE, frankly. And she said, all the small businesses locally that were, dependent on that big company. In that case, what happened was at the time, Jack Welch said, don't pay the invoices for 90 days. And all those small
oh,
businesses went out of business.
oh my,
So it's never easy, I don't think. And I think once you think you're getting your arms around it, I'm such an advocate for small business. Like I said, I've walked the walk and I did it for years. And I'm so grateful for the experience. And our story ended up actually to be a blessing because we have, I'm so proud of my husband. He did invent these products and they're outliving the company. So we actually had a vendor pick it up and we have a royalty agreement. And I'm such a big believer too now in multiple income streams for that
oh
reason.
yes.
But, all I can say is, things do happen and you just have to learn to take care of yourself first and foremost, right? Through it all. And then just keep going and, figure out what it is that will work for you, will work for your family. I don't ever, advocate trying to cling on to that because if
Right.
it's done, it's done. And that's okay. You have to get to a point where you're at peace with that. And I just, like I said, my heart goes out to people and I empathize with so many people having been there ourselves.
Yeah, it's really hard. It's that whole letting go thing, right? Because, like, when I find myself in that place of something's happened, it seems so huge in the moment. I
Right.
have to take a couple of breaths and go, Dawn, you know this, right? It'll work out exactly how it's supposed to work out. Everything will be okay if you just breathe and wait. Just breathe and wait a minute, right?
Yeah.
Like instead of trying to fix the thing or how do I fix it? And we get so caught up in the, like you said, clinging on to whatever it is that it's gone, people, it's gone.
Yes. Yeah. And our girls were old enough to remember the good years. And then all of a sudden it was very bad. And one
Yeah.
of the reasons, Dawn, why it was very bad, what happened to us and the trigger with our company ending, I should share with people too. My husband was the president and CEO, and we had been getting advice from different people about moving the business to me. So we got our WBE certification and I'm very proud of all that we accomplished. We had our ITAR, which is our international tariff. We were shipping products internationally. I mean, huge semi trucks of product going out, not just across the country, really around the world. So very, very proud of it, like I said. But, our daughters were watching us and they remembered when it was really good. And then all of a sudden it was really bad because when we decided to switch the ownership of the company to me, which was a year and a half later than what we were first told to do it, and it was based on a contract opportunity because somebody needed a set aside and they were going to use us. So based on that decision, it wasn't a knee-jerk thing. I mean, can you imagine? It wasn't easy for my husband to say, here, take the business. I mean, this is a business
Oh,
that was his
yeah.
baby. I always say it was our third child. When you have a business, it's weekends, vacations, 13 years. So when we did that, that's what the triggering event was. And they walked in and said, you defaulted. And I said, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. And like I said, they said, no, we're not here to shut you down. We're going to work with you. But they were. So it was a shock. We were in shock. We tried everything known to man to save it. And as a small business, you're always dealing with the cash flow issues. And then things happen regulatorily. And you're like, I have such respect for small business owners. It's just, they're always going to be first in my mind and heart, So, but I'm here to say that, we went through some difficult times because they wanted me to roll over. And I said, no, I'm not going to. And we went through a lot. And in the long run, I'm so glad that I stood my ground because we would frankly probably be homeless right now. We wouldn't have any assets, I will tell you candidly, my husband had to file Chapter 7. That's one of the reasons why I was so angry. Like I was so angry at him and
Yeah.
so
And I
embarrassed.
can only imagine what it felt like for him to have to do that.
Yeah.
Right? The whole I'm the man, I'm supposed to take care of the family. I failed. Signing that paper is like signing your name to just a piece of paper that says, you suck, you failed.
Yeah. Yeah. And when he went, even the person, the executor or whatever it was, the trustee, he just basically said, get out of here. You guys have worked hard, and we were very lucky. And like I said, we're very blessed, and we were able to reinvent ourselves. And my husband was also, after that, though, unemployed at age 62 for 10 months. 10 months. And I had found this other opportunity that came to me. And thank goodness it, in so many ways, not only saved us, my husband likes to say it gave us hope at a very difficult time. It was such a great thing. And then, he also, after that, though, he had gone on these interviews, and it was kind of a joke because my husband, he's such a good guy. And he would come back and he'd have like a mug in his hand and he'd be like, look what they got me. And my daughter and I would go like, oh my God, you got the mug. You didn't get the job. I mean, we just, after a while, you just have to like look at it and just like, find joy in every situation. But, he finally found the right position for him. And that's another thing I would say is, do whatever you have to do in the meantime. And he had little things in the meantime. He had some consulting things and stuff. But in the end, it's been, both of these things for us, saved us, gave us hope. I found my passion and purpose, and have really been true blessings. And our girls saw us not quit. That's the other thing.
Right. I
They
think
were
that is,
watching us.
yes. Yes. I think that on so many levels of like, what it means to be a resilient woman, but also what kind of a man am I looking at down the road, right?
It's true.
Right?
True.
Because he may have been knocked down and but he's gotten back up and he worked and walked and yeah, I mean
Yeah.
that's a really strong visual to walk
Yeah.
away with as a young woman.
Yes, which was always, something I'm always mindful of because, but they, this job he has, and he'll be celebrating, he's going on 3 years. What's so ironic is it really has encapsulated everything he's done, you know,
Awesome.
in his education, in all the jobs he's had, in his invention. It's been the perfect fit for him. And for both of us, he's been a full telecommute, and I work from home. So last year, we did not have to pivot whatsoever.
Right.
And that was amazing. And then for me, I had the best year I've ever had since I started with my company last year. So again, it gives us hope. We found our passion, we found our purpose. And I just think sometimes you have to let go. And I've done so much work on letting go. That's the other thing. And I will tell you on a personal note, after this all happened, I had started my journey. And so much of it is self discovery, working on yourself and so forth. In between all this, our youngest got thyroid cancer at age 18.
Oh my
And
goodness.
praise God, she's doing great. She just had her 4-year checkup and everything is good. If I was where I had been and that had happened, I would have made it all about me. I would have been rooted in fear. And because I had started my journey, I was able to be strong for her. And again, she was watching me to see how I was responding to this. So this was in between. She had knee surgery at 14, another knee surgery at 18. Then she got thyroid cancer. Then she had another knee surgery. And she's lost friends. She lost her best friend in 8th grade. This kid's been through a lot. She is so strong, and I'm so proud of her, and our oldest daughter too. And I just see the way they handled their little bumps in their lives, because let's face it, they're 24 and 22 now. And I really do believe it's them watching us handle ours.
Absolutely. Yeah, even if they're not conscious of it, that is the blueprint, right? That
Yeah.
has been a part of their raising. Now, so I feel like you having your best year this past year, we need to talk about what it is that you do because a lot of people, based on what's been happening this last year, have been turning to things to up our immunity, our health, our wellness to try and stay healthy in
Mhm.
the midst of COVID. So tell
Mhm.
us about what you do and
Thank you.
what your work is.
Yeah, thank you. Well, when I was curled up in that bed, one of the things I was dealing with, a lot of aches and discomforts in my body. Anything emotional typically does show up physically, and I could barely turn over between my hips and my back and my knees. And one thing that was really difficult, my thumb joints used to really ache to the point where if my husband grabbed my hand, I would yell.
Right.
It was really, really difficult. So, and then I wasn't sleeping, of course. I would get to sleep, but 3 a.m. was my witching hour, as I like to call it, weeks and weeks and
Oh my
weeks. And,
God, yeah.
you wake up and those
I
thoughts.
yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
yeah. And I mean, look on, social media, no one is sleeping well. So, and I just, trying to self-medicate with all the junk food. And I would start out strong every day. And then by the end of the day, I was like, forget it. And my mood, I mean, my girls will tell you if they could be here right now, the difference in me and the change in me. My husband called it every name in the book. And I was at that place where I had started to feel better and I would cry. And then they started to see me change. And I like to say, come back to life. And now, he's right there with me. And my one daughter is too. I don't force it on anyone. Our youngest still isn't, but I found a company, or rather it really did find me by talking to a friend about everything I was going through. I was probably complaining, nagging, and she had run across it at a women's conference in Syracuse. And she said two things to me. She said, oh my gosh, I just started this thing. And she said, it's so simple and I feel amazing. And that's all I needed. So I decided to just try it. And my husband was very non-supportive, like I said, because we were going through difficulty with cash flow. And he's like, really, you've got to be kidding me. And let's face it, we've all tried different things because everyone tries to be health conscious in our society. So he's like, really? Like, we're going to do this right now, So I work for really a technology company. That's what I like to call it, Lavelle.com. And they are, very successful in that they hit $2 billion in less than 7 years. The company started in 2012 and we're already close to 3 billion. And what I love about this business, I feel like, again, it was meant for me, because if we just stay open, what we need comes to us if we're just aware. Coming from my background,
Absolutely.
that's what's so amazing to me, because this company has 30 plus patents. And I think, let me talk about a little bit how we're different, because I think any of us in the health and wellness space, we kind of say the same thing. Let's be honest.
Yes.
You're going to find energy, you're going to have focus, you're going to possibly lose weight. Although losing weight, you still have to, be a participant in that. But this is just a foundation and 3 simple steps that I do every morning. And I'm still here almost 6 years later doing the same thing, because the simplicity is real. I mean, in 3 simple steps, I feed my body all day long with these really good farm sourced US and US manufactured nutrients. So the absorption is what's important with nutrition. And everyone does have nutritional gaps that become nutritional flaws, exhausted. I don't feel great. I have a mental fog. I'm not sleeping well. Those things manifest. So we can't get all of our nutrition from food alone. This is in no way saying don't eat real food. This is just filling in gaps. But 3 simple steps, it takes about 20 to 30 minutes every morning. And all those things started to change for me. And my family saw it. They were firsthand witnesses to the changes. And it's the simplicity combined with really simple patented delivery systems. And, this for me is genius, because I don't want to, nor can I swallow handfuls of pills, and I don't need to with this. This is actually one of our patented technologies. This one, actually, we donate money to the National Breast Cancer Foundation, which is really nice. And it's just something that's simple and easy to maintain. And I keep seeing like pictures going, oh my goodness, because I just feel like I just keep getting better, and it's helped me get back, out of the, off the couch, and it's helped me move more because I feel better.
So I'm interested because I'm good at I take some liquid supplements because and it works for me because right, there's more than one way to do every damn thing.
Mhm.
However, my husband, he wants to do better, but he's so forgetful. I'm like, dude, I know you're not taking this in the morning before you go to work. He said, of course I'm not, because it's not in front of my face. It has to be kept in the fridge. I'm concerned about taking my shower and getting out the door with my coffee. I
Mhm.
keep forgetting. I'm like, we got to find something. We've tried so many things, but I feel like that is something that could happen for
Well,
him.
yeah, and truthfully, like I said, my husband was very non-supportive. He called it a pyramid scheme. He called it all those things, and I would, like I said, cry because I finally started to feel better. But then he said, "Wait a minute. I think it went from 'What are you doing?' to 'Wait, what are you doing?'" And I said to him, "Bruce, do not steal my joy." That was the first thing I said to him, Dawn, because I had just found joy again.
Right.
And you know what? I've never had to tell him. I've never had to tell him. He feels so much better. He used to, when he was working outside of the home as a computer person, the 2 o'clock like this, sitting in front of the
Yes.
screen.
Oh my God,
And
yes.
he doesn't do it now. And he has a very demanding job. And he said, there's no way I could be doing this. It's called the Thrive Experience. And ultimately, we have a medical scientific advisory board with over 200 years of experience in nutrition and naturopathic medicine that's formulated this. And it just is simple. That's the best thing. That's the biggest message I want to get out there. If you have a drawer full of supplements, or they're in the fridge, or things you've spent money on and you've stopped because either you didn't get the results you wanted or it's too complicated to stick with it, give this a shot, because the only way you're going to know is if you try it. And it's not the gimmicky quick fix weight loss thing. There's no fasting. We don't want you to stop eating food, but it's going to help you with cravings. It's going to help you with energy. Like I said, it just really creates a healthier habit lifestyle, but you're filling in those gaps.
So it helps with, if you say you used to ache all over, so it helps with inflammation.
Yes,
Okay. So
absolutely.
what exactly are you, and it's, you say it takes you about 20 minutes. So it's more than just that patch you showed us.
Yes, it's 3 steps in one nutritional blend. So I start every morning with 1 to 2 capsules by my bed. That's just a really good multivitamin. We call them our jumper cables. They get us going. And you want to do all this on an empty stomach for digestion, and in this order for digestion and absorption. 1 to 2 capsules with water about 20, 30 minutes later. Our drink is called a lifestyle mix. And trust me, I looked at the packet when I first got it for 3 days. I've never been a shake person. I don't like shakes. And I have to say, honestly, it's really nice. It's ultra micronized, so not only does it blend well, it tastes good. That is your healthy gut support. So that's got not just the pea protein, but we've got digestive enzymes, pre-probiotics. We've got, different minerals there, magnesium, zinc, which you're hearing a lot about in the news these
Yes.
days. And then step 3 is this, and we have different kinds of what we call dermafusion technology. This one has more B vitamins, and it's good for metabolism and energy and mood. And that's it. You can wear this up to 24 hours. The majority of these are transferred through your skin, your largest organ, directly into your bloodstream in about the first 6 to 8. So we want people to experience how their body is supposed to feel. So it's not about making a sale, because we stay in touch with people, we check in with people. But the company is really amazing, because our founders, Paul and Jason, never opened an office building. So we have no headquarters office, no regional offices. We have been 100% in the cloud since day one. Hence, we have very low to minimal overhead. So they source the best ingredients, and they always package them so that people can be portable with this. And it's very easy to take no matter what your life is like. And free to join as a customer or promoter. Your website is free. You never pay like $20 a month to have the website or your cloud office. It's all free. We own all our software. And then even as a customer with 2 friends who want to join you, you can get your products for free. So you don't have to promote. We are customer focused, customer based. And you can still get your products for free if you want to make this your lifestyle. So it's an 8-week experience, because it takes time.
Right.
And we don't know if you'll feel something day 1. Most people around day 10 start to notice something is changing, or people around them start to notice, but it really should be a lifestyle. So we call it an 8-week experience, because it takes time for people to create good habits too.
Absolutely. And I also feel like it's important to say, because I know this from my own personal experience of when I change things out for myself, and and I feel it working. You don't know how bad you feel until you start to feel better.
Exactly.
Right? Because it doesn't happen overnight. All those aches and pains don't, they're gradual. So you learn to live with each new thing, right? And you
Yeah.
just become this person who manages the pain and the discomfort and the low energy, like, oh, I just get sleepy at 2 o'clock. I'll get a candy bar, right? Isn't that how we all do it?
I think people
Um,
too attribute it to aging, but
Also
also,
that,
and just
yes.
think about it. I mean, what has life become? It's 24/7, 7 days a week, go, go, go. And you said it. I can't even imagine homeschooling on top of everything else.
Yes.
So life can be
Yes.
quite overwhelming. And I used to feel overwhelmed on the steady. And I was paralyzed by fear. It was the way I was raised in my loving Italian family. That was the way they showed love. And I just have really had to work on fear and feeling overwhelmed. But once you start finding a way, whatever it may be for you, because I'm a believer, and look at, I came from an industry, there were a lot of Me Too's, I respect everyone, but if you're looking for a simple, quick way to do something good for you every morning before you start taking care of everyone else, give this a shot, because I don't care what your life is like, how complicated, everyone can do this and everyone
Right.
can stick with this. I think that's how we differ. And the results, we have an amazing page on Facebook, facebook.com/Lavelle Brand, story upon story upon story. And you can go on and like the page and just follow it for 24 to 48 hours, and you'll see what this company is doing. And it's really been, in 2020, not only did our team have the best year we've had since I started in 2015, the company had month to month revenues. Every month was greater than the month prior. So we really are just getting started. And what's impressive to me, and I've never been in this industry before. I mean, I've never done this, is I know our founders and our co-founders and our president, and they know me. And our top leaders are still every day doing what I do. They are too. Paul every day is out sharing this with people. And trust me, they don't need to be. They do not need to be at this point. But they have big goals to take this from, an almost $3 billion business. They want to do $1 billion a year. And they've not given me any reason to think that that won't happen. But what I love about it too, in terms of how we're compensated, is they flip the rewards plan. So we appreciate our newest people that want to join us as business partners, and our first two ranks. Our auto bonus, which most companies offer, is only the second rank of the company. So I have on my team 8 auto bonus earners already. It's really been a great blessing in every sense of the word. It's not a perfect company. They're not perfect. They'll
No,
say it too.
nothing is. There is
Yeah,
no be all end all, right?
yeah,
Because uh, we all have to find what works for us.
right. Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
I keep trying to shove down my husband's throat what works for me without and I do that without mindfully thinking about his day is drastically different from mine,
Yeah.
right? I get up and I walk from the kitchen to my desk here in the front row. He's
Yes.
got to get in a truck and drive to South Glens Falls and any substation that needs attention. And his life is a lot more transient than mine for his work day.
Yes.
Um,
The biggest
so
thing is find what works for you and do it,
correct.
because I don't think,
Consistently.
I mean, health is always important. And now think about what you said. I mean, what is really more important? And the immune support and the inflammation support and all those things.
Yeah.
And, I put this up yesterday. I went for my eye exam yesterday. I'm 58 years old. I'll be 59 in July. It was my 2-year exam. And I was so happy when they said, no change, come back in
Right.
2 years. I
Right.
mean, it may seem like an insignificant thing,
No, it's a
but
big
what is
thing.
more important than that,
It is a big thing because I sit there every time because I just turned 59 in September, and when they do the glaucoma thing, I'm always like,
Yeah,
oh God, will they see something this time? And
yeah,
I always get like, yay, when they're like, oh, it looks fine, because
it's true.
we see what happens to people around us, right? And we feel like we all have to have that, and that's not true.
No,
Right? Aging doesn't mean that your entire body breaks down. It does not have to be that way. It didn't used to be that way,
true, true.
right?
The other thing I'd like to say real quickly on the fitness side, because we know
Mhm.
it's 80% nutrition, 20% fitness. My goal isn't to be a triathlete. My goal is to maintain strength, a strong core, be mobile, and be flexible, because I want to keep enjoying life. And when we can start traveling again and so forth, and when we go to the grocery store, we see people around us, and
Oh
it's not
yeah.
judging. My mom is, I always say this, you've heard me probably on Facebook. My mom is my role model. She's 83. She's still working. She's still independent. She's doing great. She was a farm girl. She just is very active for her. And that's my goal. I don't want to be 20. I don't. I'm very comfortable where I am, very blessed to be here. My dad, on the other hand, passed away at 55, and we share the same birthday. And I think too, watching, the dichotomy between his life and my mom, I want to be what my mom is. So I just am very grateful to have found something that I can stick with, that I can do, that has made a real difference for me. And I'm not shy about, talking about it, because I don't try to force people or convince people, but I want them to know that you can take care of yourself, and it does not have to be this difficult, complicated thing. And, ooh, I ate a cookie, shame on me. That is not what this is about.
Right, right. And I hear you on the farmer thing, because that's when I get down on myself, like, you're supposed to be doing all these things, like I'm supposed to be so fit, and it's like, actually no, if I look at like who the elders were around me, and it's like, man, farmers, they just kick ass. And it's
Yes.
because they've always had to do, functional physical labor
Yes.
around a farm, right? Chop wood, muck stalls. So there was strength and flexibility was built into their day,
Yes. Yes. And
right? And for years and years. And so they're these wiry little fireballs of people who just can't stop doing those things.
right. It's a lifestyle. It is a
Right.
lifestyle. And I mean, I won't ever be a farmer, but I have found a way to incorporate, and
Correct.
every step counts.
Yep.
Everything you do that's good counts. And I feel like with my gratitude journal, one thing I used to do, Dawn, too, is I've learned to forgive myself,
Oh my
because
gosh, that's so huge.
yeah, because like I'm doing this little really simple gratitude journal. It's 3 things every morning. And in the past, this is my continual growth and work on myself. If I missed a day, which I did when I first started it, I remember I started and then the weekend came and I didn't do it. And I picked it up on Monday and I started to say those things. And I said, oh, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait. What I do Saturday, I got to fill that in. What I do Sunday. And I thought, Barbara, let it go. You do
Right.
not have to put it in
Right.
Saturday.
Who's going to look at it? Who's judging you? Who's grading it?
But see, in the past, I would quit.
Yes.
I would give up because, ooh,
Nope.
I made
Yep.
a mistake.
I
So
failed.
I'm learning to forgive myself, to give myself grace, to understand that to be healthy, to be in a good place, you don't have to be perfect. And actually, people, relate to you more when you're not. So I've shared with you some of our story. I mean, we've been in the mud. My husband had a job 2 weeks before we got married. He was laid off. We've been through layoffs. He had to go, like I said, chapter 7. I was just grateful that my husband emotionally made it through all that, because that's really, he's stronger too than I realized. Because when I say this was his baby, this was his baby. I mean, and then just to, keep going, keep putting one foot in front of the other. And if you work on yourself and you start opening your mind to the possibilities, because I never saw myself doing what I'm doing. And let's face it, people are skeptical when you're in this industry.
Absolutely.
I love it. I absolutely
Hmm.
love it. I'm happier than I've ever been in my entire career. And you know what? To be frank, moving into this season of life, I'm grateful for the flexibility of workspace and time freedom. And those are so valuable to me. And I will never stop doing this, because every morning I get up and I do my 3 steps. And this has been like the business side of it, which I didn't even know existed in the beginning, has been just a huge, like I said, blessing in every sense of our word, in so many ways for us.
I want to go back and recapture something about your husband too, because at your lowest, it was his low too.
True.
And can I just mention that it takes a very strong man not to look at what was happening with you, not getting out of bed every day. That was right in his face every day. And I wonder, I'm making an assumption and I'm not him and I don't know what he went through, but that had to be like looking at his most abject failure every day. Like, look what I've done to her. Look what I've done to us.
And I was not
And
kind.
he didn't walk out.
He didn't walk out, and I was not kind. I was not. I'm being perfectly honest. And he's we still laugh 26 years later. And when we don't laugh, we have a normal relationship. We don't do conflict well all the time. The girls have seen it, but I've also used that as an opportunity to say, look, this is real. He surprised me with the most beautiful 25th anniversary party last October, and I'm so grateful. And I had a friend who said to me at one point, I remember when we were really in the thick of it, you have to ask yourself, would I be happier without him? And the answer has always been no. And thankful for him, he feels the same way. But, I don't ever want people, we always try to give our best foot forward on social media. And I want to be positive to hopefully inspire people. But, he's going through a health issue right now, Dawn, too. And I have to say, I think him being on Thrive with me and just being a little more mindful. He was working really hard, and at 2 o'clock in the morning, he felt something in his chest. And he has, issues and diagnoses, and he has a very high risk with his family. And he didn't tell me, and he went to his doctor, and I thought it was routine. And then he failed a stress test. And actually, a year ago, Valentine's Day, we were at St. Peter's, and he was having a catheterization. And it set off all these tests. And in August, he finally got a diagnosis. He has an autoimmune disease. So he's been on a course of treatment with
Oh,
steroids. Yeah. But he just had a second PET scan, and we're going next week, or this week actually, to see if what he's gone through. But you know what? I don't think he would have paid attention to his body before.
right.
And I'm
Right.
so
That
proud
is
of him.
so important.
Yeah.
It's
I
so
mean,
important.
he's in tune, and he never used to be. And his doctor thankfully said to us, I never catch it this early. I never get a diagnosis this early, when I say very, very mild. So we are, again, thankful. But things are going to happen, guys. That's what I'm trying to say. Our lives are far from perfect. And at the same time, we're still here. Like you said, we're still by each other's sides. I just try to wake up every day, no matter what, and just say thank you. And
Yeah.
I used to live my life too, where I'd be like, when we just get past this,
Oh,
everything,
yes.
right?
Yes. Yep. I absolutely, that resonates with me. And it's, you can apply that to every little thing, every goal you want in your world.
Yes.
And that's madness.
Yes.
And I just want to again encapsulate, about what a real relationship, a real working relationship is. And it's not always perfect.
Right.
Right. I think more young people need to understand that a marriage is not something that doesn't require work. It always requires work and attention. It's like you can't buy a plant or get a pet or have a child and expect it to raise itself or water itself. A good relationship, it needs time and attention and work, and we're
And we
not always good people.
and it's two people that are bringing the way they were raised to this new relationship.
Correct.
So, that impacts things too. But, one thing I wanted to do here today is just be brutally honest. And I'm not ashamed of any of it. And nobody, that's the other thing I want to say here. No matter what you're going through, please do not beat yourself up. It's normal to do so. I still do it at times. I hear it and I go, wait a minute, why am I feeling that way? Now I can stop. Before I used to spiral down and I couldn't get myself out of it. Now I
Right.
can sort of stop and go, wait a minute, why are you feeling that funny feeling in your chest or your stomach? And I can identify it, and I can sort of, handle it. But whatever you're going through, please, you're not a failure. And it's not
Right.
anything to be shameful of. I don't care what it is, because I know some people who have gone through, like, I look at ourselves and I go, Barbara, you were ridiculous. Like, what you went through is nothing compared to what some people go through or deal with. But it was my time. And but I just want to also encourage people, whatever it is for you, the best thing you can do is get out of your own head and try to find something bigger, and realize that life is not going to be, when we finally get past this, everything will be okay. It's not going to be that way. That's a falsehood I was telling myself. And now I'm okay with whatever comes our way. And I know we'll be fine. But it's hard. It can be really
It
hard.
is.
Yeah.
It is, especially when we're young.
Yes.
Because I grew up in a very abusive household. I am a childhood sexual abuse, and really early on, I started telling people, I'm not a survivor. I'm a thriver.
Yep.
Like, despite all of that, that is something that happened to me. That's not who I am.
Right.
Right?
Absolutely.
That doesn't that's not like, hi, my name is Dawn Scannell, and like that's not what I put under my signature. Childhood sexual abuse
Right.
survivor.
Yeah.
It's just something that happened to us.
Yes.
And we can choose to put it on the side on the shelf. That doesn't mean we're not dealing with it, but that just means we don't need to carry it all the time every day, and that's not what we should be making our decisions from.
Right. And like I said, I work so much on fear, and I actually right now am hopefully taking that to the next step, and I'm working on being brave. That's what I'm working on,
Oh, that's a big one.
you know, no matter what happens, because we all know in our future too, we're all going to have some sort of loss. It's coming. It's just a part of life. So that's what I'm working on this year. Is I always say, move the goalpost 1%, whether it's 1% healthier, 1%, and that's what I'm working on. And I'm actually at the point where I'm enjoying the journey all the way through.
Can you tell me, what does brave look like for you?
Um, well, I mean, for me, it is this, because I'm here. You can ask my husband. I went in before I sat down with you and said, Bruce, I put makeup on today, which my daughters want to thank you very much because they're like, Mom, you look like a hobo. And they're right, because I've gotten really comfortable with this working from home thing. So I thank you for helping me do my hair and put makeup on today. But I went into my husband before this and I said, look, I'm doing this thing. I really am. I'm not comfortable doing this. I'm not, but I'm
Well, you don't come across as greatly uncomfortable.
Oh, thank you. Yeah,
No,
this is the ironic thing. I have a social media sharing business and it's not my level of comfort, but I also have a team that we talk about being outside your comfort zone, right? All of us. And I think people are being shoved into that right now, right? No
yeah,
matter what they're doing, they're being
yep,
shoved inside their comfort zone. So for me, being brave is just, I try not to say do this if I'm not doing it myself. It's not fair for me to be there and say, ooh, and then just not do it. So being brave is that part of it. Being brave is this thing with my husband. I'm not afraid, and the old me, I would have been again curled up over it. And I'm just trying to flip the switch and look at things differently, and just know, walking bravely into situations that before I would have cowered or I would have just fallen apart over. So for me, like in that case, getting a diagnosis was like, I'm so grateful for the diagnosis. Now we know what we're dealing with and we just move forward. Being brave is also, I think in general, just knowing that no matter what life throws at you, you just walk confidently. And that doesn't mean you don't have moments of doubt or those, but just, I think we have to really, with what's happening in the world around us too, try to just show people that you can still not give your life over to a person or a pandemic or all those things. I mean, I know these things are real, and at the same time, I refuse to let any of it steal my joy, because if my joy is gone, I'm not living.
correct.
And at our
Yep,
ages, Dawn,
yep,
let's face it, it's not like, I mean, you just never know, but you never know anyway. But I'm not going to miss anything. And it doesn't have to
correct.
be big things. That's what I want to say too. You don't have to be a triathlete, or you can just do little simple things every single day. And then before you know it, you've really moved that goalpost. You know?
Correct. Yeah, it really is. Baby steps are everything.
Yes. Yeah.
They can really take you to the biggest places, those baby steps.
Yes.
Well, is there anything else you want to leave the folks with before we wrap up?
I'm here cheering everyone on, and I really mean it. I feel like the world needs more positivity and light, and people need, what you have to offer, what I have to offer. We need what other people have to offer. Um, Life is so much better. I'm free. I'm free. A big part of that for me is my faith, and whatever that looks like for you. But I finally have learned that it's not all about this stuff. It's just when you get to a place where you're working on yourself and you get rid of fear and you decide to be brave and you keep putting one foot in front of the other, it's the most freeing feeling in the world. And we talked about it a little bit before we got on. I'm at the point where I left the corporate job of my own choosing, and I'm grateful for all of it. My husband, I like to say he is 82nd Airborne. He enjoyed jumping out of planes. My feet weren't just on the ground, they were in concrete. So God brought us together, and I'm grateful for, I mean, even having our business, I was kicking and screaming through the whole thing. Looking back on it, I have found gratitude for the whole part of it. When you finally get to this place and you can see things that way, you're free. So
Yes.
yeah, I'm willing to not do some things and understand that I might be minimizing my business or hurting my business, but I'm finally at the place where I'm okay with it, because I know for me it is time freedom. Yes, it's been financial, thank goodness. It's been such a blessing that way too. But for me, the time freedom and the joy every day, because otherwise, what are we here for? So,
Yeah, yeah. I have this conversation frequently with people. I don't understand the constant money grab wherever you can. I was like, how much does a person need?
right.
Right? I mean, if you look around you, w- if
Yeah.
you've got food on your table, if you've got shelter over you, right? And you have family and you have friends and you have love.
Right. I'm with you. In the end,
Right.
think
In the end, on my deathbed, I'm not going to be saying, "What's your what biggest regret?" Oh, that I don't have a bigger pile of money next to me as I'm dying.
yeah. I mean, I've learned from our friend Hillary that it's okay to want to have, it's like the air we breathe, the food we eat, the water we drink, and the money we need to live. And I'm a goal, setter, and I believe in abundance. I just feel that abundance for me, that's a part of it. But if I just have that and I don't have the rest of it, then for me, it doesn't make sense. So I don't know. I mean, I have goals, and it's more about designing the kind of life that we want than anything else because I don't really need the furs and that stuff. I don't begrudge anyone that if that's your thing and if you've earned it, that's fine. But I'm just saying, I don't know. It's, I'm excited for the future. I'm excited for the future. I wake up every day excited. I wake up every day looking forward to what the day will bring. Not every day's easy. Some days suck.
Yes,
you
yes,
know,
they do.
some days suck.
Yeah.
But I always know the next day, no matter what kind of day I've had, the next day I get to get up and I get to take care of me again and start with that first. And it just has become an anchor for me. And it's been a steadying influence. And it's brought so many amazing people into my life because you and I would not be talking because I would not have been out at Savvy Networking if I had not had this found me. So it's really bigger. It really is. And I'll never stop because it does bring me the joy. And it's great to have a passion and a purpose at this age. And
Absolutely is. It
yeah,
absolutely is. I had
yeah,
that conversation with my husband, about a month ago, and I was like, I know this, you don't understand anything about what I'm trying to create or what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. And I also understand that you could perfectly take care of both of us. I don't need to find something to do.
right.
I said, but I need a purpose. I need to feel like, what I'm doing matters in the
Yes.
world somehow. And he looked at me and he goes, Dawn, I've always known that about you. You don't have to explain that to me.
Yeah. Well, I've seen you reinvent yourself just the short time I've known you. So I think that's amazing. And I can tell this is your joy. And, my husband says something to me that I think I'll pass along too, which at times it really helps me. He always says you're doing better than you think you are.
Oh my gosh, yeah. We need t-shirts.
Yes. Yes.
We need t-shirts.
Absolutely.
Because not just for us, but like when I walk through the grocery store, I feel like, yes, everybody needs to read that, right? I feel like we need to sprinkle that grace everywhere.
Turn off the TV, turn off the news
Oh
because
my God,
it's
the
not going to do
news.
anything.
Yeah.
You know,
Holy man.
I'm
Yeah.
back to reading books for pleasure, which for a while I did not. I'm just trying to really pepper my life in different ways with little sprinkles of joy. And I put something up the other day, even what I do, my Thrive, it's not all of me, but it's kind of like the sprinkles on a cake. And whatever it is for you, make sure that you find those things because those are the joyful moments. And I'm so grateful to know you. And I think you're just great. You're
Thank you.
great and the
I
world.
feel the same about you, madam.
Thank you. The world needs more positivity, and if we can bring a little bit of that, let's do it. All of us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for leaning out of your comfort zone and into mine today.
Thank you. Oh, thank you.
Thank you for sharing your stories. I think it's so important when we tell our true stories. It's always helpful for somebody who's out there listening and struggling, going, "Oh, see, it's not just me.
No.
I'm not, I'm not that different from everyone else." And these women seem really happy. So
Yeah.
there is hope,
Oh God.
right?
And you saw
Yeah.
my talk at Savvy, and I just like to say, how strong is your rope? Because we all have a rope, and the rope is frayed, and it's got loose threads and knots. And you can decide what to do, and you can strengthen that rope. And just hang on. Just hang on, no matter what you're going through. Just don't let go and hang on. And I don't know. To me, that's just a really good analogy. That's all we did. I was lost. We were broken. And I was not even in a good place with my kids. Why would I be? And all we did was hang on. And on the other side, and all the work and still the work we're doing. And it's just been really looking back a journey that I'm so thankful for. So I encourage everyone, just hang on.
Hang on. Thank you so much, Barb. I hope you have a really great rest of your day. Again, thank you for being willing to come and share with us today your story. I think it's so inspiring.
Oh, well, I was thrilled that you asked me. It was really nice to see your message, and I'm so grateful to have you, be asking about it. So I,
Yep.
I'm grateful to know you. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. And anybody out there listening, if you want to get in touch with Barb and you can't find her, hit me up and I will hook you up. I will do the introductions on the social medias and get you chatting with Barb.
Thanks, Dawn. Have a good day. Thanks,
You
everyone.
too.
Okay,
Bye
take care.
bye.
Bye.